everybody, welcome to Uncle Dave's Spaghetti. Today is Tuesday, so we're doing Texas Tuesday. I always try to highlight a Texan who has made it to fame in the world of music. So, if you're new here, stick around. I got a little backstory on Roy Orbison, Oh Pretty Woman, today. And with what I normally do is talk a little bit about the artist, the song, the beginnings, origins of it, a little background on the person. So, let's get to the music, and we'll talk about all that later. If you would, hit like, subscribe, post notification bell. We got the old Ed
Ladies and
Sullivan
gentlemen,
Show.
the record poles on both sides of the Atlantic have been all turned up here because a fellow out of Odessa, Texas, Roy Orbison, is leading the list with his number. So here is the spectacled number one king, Roy Orbison. Let's have a nice welcome for Texas.
You beat.
Pretty woman, walking down the street, pretty woman, the kind I'd like to meet, pretty woman. I don't believe you, you're not the truth. No one could look as good as you. Mercy. Pretty woman, won't you pardon me, pretty woman? I couldn't help but see, pretty woman, that you look lovely as can be. Are you lonely just like me? Pretty woman, stop a while. Pretty woman, talk a while. Pretty woman, give your smile to me. Pretty woman, yeah, yeah, yeah. Pretty woman, lift my way. Pretty woman, say you'll stay with me. 'Cause I need you, I'll treat you right. Come with me, baby, be mine tonight. Pretty woman, don't walk on by, pretty woman, don't make me cry, pretty woman, don't walk away. Okay, if that's the way it must be, okay. I guess I'll go on home and play. There'll be tomorrow night for me. What do I see? Is she walking back to me? Yeah, she's walking back to me. Oh, pretty woman.
Simple chord structure, but very effective. Yay,
Ladies and gentlemen.
Texas. That's right. Yes, I tell you, Roy was born in Vernon, Texas. He moved around Texas several towns throughout his life, but he was born in 1936. He died in 1988 at the young age of 52. Had a heart attack, and that's a shame, man. He had a great career in the 60s. He signed his first record contract with Sun Records in 1965. Had great string of hits there during that time. He moved over to Monument Records, had more hits there than he did at Sun, and had a great career there for a while. He had a lot of personal tragedies. He had two sons that had died in a house fire, and he had marital problems. Was he divorced his wife and then remarried her, and I think they worked things out a couple of years later. And so he had a lot of personal tragedies, and then his career started faltering, and he just had a lot of issues going on there in the late 60s, early 70s. And but he had a revival. The career took off again in the 80s, And he was part of the Traveling Wilburys with George Harrison, Bob Dylan, Tom Petty, Jeff Lynne. And so that revived his career and introduced him to a whole new generation of folks. His voice has been praised by not only the fans, but by his peers as well, and people that were influenced by him. Barry Gibb, the great vocalist from the Bee Gees, he said that when he first heard Roy's voice, he said it sounded like the voice of God to him. He said it heavily influenced his singing. And this wasn't a great recording, by the way. I mean, if you've never heard Roy, I invite you to hear a studio version of that song. I did it because I like to play videos to see them in person. But the studio version of this is really clear and very, very beautiful. His voice is awesome. He was not totally blind. Most people think that he was totally blind, but he was not. He had very, very, very poor vision. He wore sunglasses a lot of times and added to the mystery. He didn't know any better. He just wore them. People said, "Who's the mystery man?" They're wearing sunglasses, and it added to his persona. He wore mostly black most of the time, so that he wore those very thick glasses, by the way. But the song itself, "Oh Pretty Woman," he and his partner Bill Dees were sitting there trying to write up a song, and he was at his Roy's house, and Roy's wife came in and said, "Hey, I'm going to go shopping." And he said, "Well, do you need any money to go shopping with?" And Bill Dees jumped in. He said, "A pretty woman never needs any money." And well, that perked the ears of Roy, and he said, "You know what? That sounds pretty good. Let's work on that." He said, "We're going to work on that," and they did. And by the time his wife got back from shopping, they already had the song written. And Bill said that was written on a Friday, recorded the next Friday, and released the third Friday. So he said it was the fastest song he had ever had put out like that. So very quickly done, but it was very efficient, and it was a huge hit. It had a revival in the 1990 film Just Pretty Woman, and it was Julia Roberts and Richard Gere, and that introduced him to a whole new crowd of people, and it took off again. Once again, it was a hit song. So that's a little bit about Roy, about the song, and hope you enjoyed it. Hit like, subscribe, post notification bell. Be sure and come back and see me. And appreciate you stopping by. So be nice to each other and be nice to yourself. Thanks.